Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Neil, and today we're going to be doing a high power build. About a month or so back, I built a model rocket called the Bullet Bobby. Now, Bullet Bobby is from the Mario franchise. In Mario, it's actually called Bullet Bill. So Launch Lab Rocketry, which is one of my favorite companies, actually came out with the Bullet Bobby. So I built this one because it's just looks like a great little rocket to fly. So it's only about 6 inches tall. It runs on your 18 millimeter low power engines. It's got some great decals. He's added this fin design here for stabilization, and I don't know if it shows up well, but it is painted black, and then I added a Vallejo shifters paint on it to give it kind of a bit of a green reflection. So yeah, so this is the Bullet Bobby from Launch Lab Rocketry, and the reason I'm showing you this is because the rocket that we're going to build for high power, put him right there, is going to be the Bullet Bobby XXL. So this is a very hefty rocket. Said it is a high-powered rocket. It's 19.5 inches long. It's got a 7.5-inch body tube. Without motor, it's going to weigh in at 3 pounds, and the recommended motors are H through J. The max altitude that he references is about 2,500 feet, and that is probably on a J motor. So you do need to be level 1 certified to fly this one and to pick up the motors, and I am level 1 certified through NAR. But yeah, so this will be a great this is going to be a great build, and if we just, well, we'll keep it in the bag, we can just put the two side by side for a comparison. So we can see it's a it's a pretty big change in size. So anyway, let's we'll get this bag open and get started and see what we got on the inside. Okay, I've taken everything out of the bag, and we'll just go through what was in there. Now, there are two versions of this kit that you can order. You can get just the base version, and then you can also get a deluxe version, which comes with a few extra items. But right now, we'll just go through what comes in the base version, and that's what we see right here. So first we get a nice set of colored instructions, which is great. And on the instructions, there is a QR code that you can scan, which gets you to a PDF version of the instructions, as well as some decal tips on putting on these transfer decals. And you also get the ever important Open Rocket sim file, because you will need to sim this thing before you fly. So you also get, speaking of the decals, you also get your transfer decals right here. Very nice looking. We get our 3 centering rings. These are 1/8 inch plywood. We have our 2 slotted centering rings, and of course then the forward ring, which has the notch for our Kevlar shock cord. You get your 4 fins. These are 1/4 inch plywood. Very nice. And through the tube fin design. And you want these to be pretty hefty fins, because if we go back to the model, we'll see the fins extend off the end of the body tube. So they will take a lot of impact whenever this rocket lands. So we definitely need good sturdy fins. So those are great. Then we have a 38 millimeter motor mount tube. This is a high power rocket. Then we have our body tube, which includes 7.5 inch tube with our slotted fins cut. You just punch those out. And our 3D printed nose cone. It's a very thick nose cone. They do warn you in the instructions that this can warp under excessive heat, so you do not want to leave it in your car, especially in the summer in Texas where I live. The 3D printing, of course, leaves I call them the striations. I'm sure there's a formal term for that. So it is nice if you can fill those in. On the model, it also had a 3D printed nose cone, and I did fill them in with CA glue, and it came out really nice. So this one, I have some gap filling CA glue. So my thoughts are I will fill this in, and then to sand it down, I will probably use, I have an orbital sander which has a contouring mount on it where the sanding pad can curve to fit, you know, the shape of the nose cone. And I think I'll try that to sand out the CA glue. And then the last thing we get is a goodie bag here, which has our Kevlar shot cord. And we also get a 1/4 inch launch lug, which I won't be using for this. I will go with the included rail buttons. They give you the 2 rail buttons. I will go with those. And they give you some weld nuts to epoxy in. You also get a really heavy duty swivel for the parachute, which is nice. And then you get an eye bolt. And when I first saw the eye bolt, my thought was, well, this is going to mount into the motor tube, but there's not a hole for it. Plus you have the gap, you have the notch for the Kevlar. Looking at the instructions, this actually gets epoxied into the nose cone. So this will mount into the nose cone. All right, so now we'll go ahead and take a look at what comes in the deluxe version. So with the deluxe version, you do get this additional bag in the package, and it contains a few good items. First of all, we have a 38mm retaining ring, which is awesome. You can get this in blue or you can get it in gray. And I opted to go with blue because, as I was mentioning on the Bullet Bobby model, I had airbrushed some shifting paint on it to make it kind of get a green glow, which is, look, there it is. You get a little bit of that green popping up. I also have some shifting paint that will that does blue and violet, so I think that will look really cool to have that blue violet look with this blue retainer ring. Make it look pretty neat. You also get a 45-inch parachute. Now this is Top Flight brand, and this is the Launch Lab. This is one of their brands. Then you get a 18x18 parachute protector bag, which I'm really excited to have because I've been needing to get one of these anyway, so this is kind of nice. And then you get some nose cone weight, and if I remember on the website, I think you get, this is 6 ounces of nose cone weight, and you will be using this nose cone weight to make this rocket stable. With that short body tube, you're going to need some nose weight. And if we go back once again to the model, if we look inside the nose cone, I do have some about 3/4 ounces of clay in there for some nose weight. And when I fly this, we'll see how stable this is, if I need to add some more weight to the nose. All right, so that covers everything that comes with the basic and the deluxe package. So I'll conclude this video, and in the next video, we'll actually start building.